This week's short presentation is going to be on how to find an author's thesis. Writing your thesis, which you practiced last week, is different than finding an author's thesis, though the same principles in many ways still apply. The thesis is always going to be the main point of a text, whether it's your own or an author. So essentially, that's what you're looking for. So some quick rules in order to help you find a thesis, like I said, is that the thesis is always the main point of a text, whether it be your own or whether it be a text that you're reading. One rule is that the thesis must suit the purpose of the text. So if you're telling a narrative, then the thesis should be narrative. If you're offering information, then the thesis needs to be informative. If you're making an argument, then the thesis needs to be argument. The other rule is that your thesis should be stated in 1 to 2 sentences, and this holds true for your own theses as well as what you're looking for in author's work. Now, sometimes when you're looking for an author's thesis, it will be directly stated. It'll be clear and you'll be able to identify it in a text within that 1 to 2 sentence framework. This is not always the case, though. There are many times where you have to put the author's ideas together in your head and then in a way that can be stated in 1 to 2 sentences. So let's try. By now you should have read this essay. It's by Bertrand Russell on his 3 passions. So if you were to ask yourself, what is the main point that the author is making in this text, then you should have identified that first sentence. 3 passions, simple but overwhelmingly strong, have governed my life. The longing for love, the search for knowledge, and the unbearable pity for the suffering of mankind. That is Russell's thesis in this essay. It just happens that in this essay, it really follows standard 5-paragraph format, which is a standard essay format. And so his thesis is concise and clearly stated in 1 to 2 sentences, in this case 1, in the introduction. Now, it won't necessarily always be the case that this is so. Sometimes, like I said, you'll have to sit back and you'll have to ask yourself, what is the main point that the author is trying to make in this text? What is the purpose of this text? And then once you find that, once you figure that out, you get the challenge of stating the thesis in your own words. So even though Russell does state the thesis directly in the essay, it's always best if you can do it in your own words. And I've kind of tried to start you out here. So in your own words, fill in the rest of the blank here. Russell states that there are 3, and then fill it in. If you have any questions about what I've been talking about here, please email me and I will do my best to answer them.